Okay, fam, so this workout is going to be a total upper body workout. It's the freaking weekend, and if you've been following my content, I haven't worked out a lot lately. I've been doing a lot of meditation, been doing a lot of stretching, a lot of yoga, a lot of active recovery, but today I want to pump, and I did chest and back a couple days ago. I did legs. I did more of a glute workout, and then I had to take 2 days off again due to work and some other obligations. So now I'm coming back into it. I just don't want to come back in with an arm workout because then I'm gonna have to take a day off before I do upper body like chest and back, and I don't want to just do chest and tris, and I don't want to do legs today. So instead of just doing chest and back again, I'm gonna do total upper body. So I'm just gonna set the camera up, gonna fucking hammer it out, and it's gonna be a limited time workout. I only have about an hour and a half to do it, so I'm gonna go in, just get to work. Total upper body workout. Let's do it. I'm getting excited. I can smell the pump. All right, fam, welcome to this upper body workout. I usually like to start my upper body training, all of it, with just dead hangs, and literally that's all you do. You might even do a couple scapular depressions. You saw how I just kind of pulled my scapula down and I just do a dead hang. So my feet right now aren't touching the ground, but there are two, easily accessible foot stand areas. So I could just let go and touch the ground. So it's not a high risk position. So I'm not like landing on my feet randomly. You can step off, as you can see now. So I do want to activate the posterior rotator cuff. So I do my external rotations, and you can see how I put a towel under my arm, which keeps the humerus at a better angle where it fits into the scapula. So when you have a slight degree of support, as you can see, it's not pinched along the side of my body. There's a little bit more of an opening, and it's better aligned when the humeral head actually attaches to the scapula. So that's where I put that there, and allows me to keep consistency in where the upper arm position is. So I'm not flailing my arm up to cheat. I'm not arching my back. I'm sucking my stomach in. You can't really tell, but I am trying to keep a posterior pelvic tilt, trying to suck the stomach in and tuck the glutes. That way I can make sure I'm keeping core integrity, and I'm teaching my body to have proper posture while performing these exercises. So that's a really big part of activation techniques, is making sure that you have good postural alignment. And yeah, these are not exciting, but it's good. I'm looking at the camera, "Hey, what's up? How you doing, baby?" But like what I'm doing is just thinking about my workout. I'm kind of planning it, just getting my head in the game. You might be listening to music. My headphones died. My Bluetooth ones, I have to get new ones. And here I'm just going to start with some back and forth, kind of like casual supersets, just warming up. So I'm doing some negatives. This is better than assisted pull-ups. This is better than the bands. If you can't do a pull-up, this is what you should start with. This is what I mean by pull-up negatives. Stepping off, lowering slowly, and the same muscles. The reason why negatives are so powerful in your training and to improve strength to get to do your first pull-up, and this is the same technique that I use to teach people how to do their first push-up from their toes, is that it's working the same muscles on the way down and the way up. So the eccentric, the contraction of the muscle that is occurring during the lengthening portion of the movement, that deceleration and that eccentric strength is the strongest part of the contraction. So you can do exercise and you can perform exercises in a negative fashion, focusing on the eccentric rather than the concentric or the isometric, which you might have trouble with. So it allows you to strengthen those muscles too, in the long run, be able to do your first pull-up straight. And you saw me do some scapular depressions there to activate my lower trapezius. So we'll do some more breakdown content on that in another video. I'll go into more depth with the whole negative process for pull-ups and like the benefits of scapular depressions. I'll go into some more of that content. I'll break this video out a little bit more. So again, casual, maybe a minute or two between, or maybe the 30 seconds between the exercises, just really casual, getting started, getting warmed up. And these are chest dips. So I did a few just to warm up the shoulder and the elbow and see how I feel. And then, as you can see now, and I posted this in my daily Swole Club on Messenger, I'm doing protractions at the end of the movement. And those protractions really get the serratus anterior involved, and it also gets the lower part of the chest. So that is gold. And that is how I prefer to activate those lower. I don't like doing decline bench. Not my favorite. I don't really even like always doing crossovers for the lower chest, is because sometimes it's hard to get the crossover machine. It's a popular area. But those I feel have really broken out a lot more shape in the under part of my chest, right by the armpit. And now I'm just doing some full pull-ups, and I'm not really stressing how many I do. I'm not going to a complete burn, complete failure, just still ramping up. And I use body weight exercise like this. You can see I'm doing a couple negatives. It's also, like I said, just getting my head in the game. And I think too many people just go to the gym and start lifting. That's part of what a warm-up is. That's part of why I would go on the Stairmaster or the stepper machine and do a little cardio just to get my heart rate up. It's physically warming me up, but it's also mentally warming me up. I'm getting my mind in the game. All right, so here's another set of chest dips. Again, I'm getting that protraction at the end. And if you aren't in the protraction game, I'm telling you, it's something that you need to address in your training, because the serratus anterior pulls the scapular forward. And that is a huge portion of your scapular stability. So as much as the middle trapezius, the lower traps that we're getting from pull-ups and from the scapular depressions as I was doing, as much as those are important, stabilizing the scapula on the back end, the same is going to be true for the serratus anterior and the muscles on the front. Stabilizing the scapula from the front portion where it interacts with the thoracic cavity and the ribs. And here's Papa Swolio with the dips again. And you can see a little bit better. I zoomed in so you can get a little bit more of the... You see how like the anterior deltoid, everything just really activates when you get that protraction. And you can see it almost looks like a crunch. And it can be maybe misinterpreted for a crunch, but it's not an ab exercise. Maybe upper abdominal area, but at that last moment, it looks like I'm rounding my spine. I'm really just pushing my scapula forward. So this is going to be challenging for a lot of you, but it's a great way to add a different flavor to your dips. We got one more angle for the pull-ups. And honestly, endurance for pull-ups and how many pull-ups you can do in subsequent sets, that shit drops dramatically. If you could do pull-ups straight, you know what I'm talking about. After your first set or two, those numbers just drop severely. So if you're adding in some extra negatives like I'm doing, stepping up, starting at the full contraction, depressing, retracting the scapula, and then lowering down slowly, that's where you can get your numbers up and still get your workout in, even if you don't practice, do endurance style pull-ups. Because if you're building mass, it's hard to keep that number of pull-ups high as you build body weight. And a back angle of the chest dips with the protraction. See, I'm pushing my arms forward, popping the shoulder blades forward, and getting that full action of the serratus anterior and the lower pectoral fibers. So that angle, that mechanical angle, is really delicious. And this is actually, I'm just going to talk over it because it's so loud when I'm there. A friend of mine at the gym has been asking me about his shoulder, and I showed him the prone press. I showed him ways to activate those muscles on the back of his arm. So between your shoulder blades, there's a couple important areas where the floor Cobra is gold. And first off, this isn't a Superman. Your feet are on the ground. You're sucking your stomach in. Your chest is on the ground. Your glutes are tight. So you're putting your body in good base core position. Now with the arms, you're getting three actions. You're getting external rotation of the humerus. You're getting retraction of the scapula. You're also getting scapular depression. And that is what's going to unroll your shoulder like a fruit roll-up, the opposite. So you're all internally rotated. The lats, the chest, the pectoralis major, the minor, these muscles are all pulling forward and down and internally rotating. Even the anterior deltoid is internally rotating the humerus. So you get this rounded in position with the upper body, and that causes a lot of tension in the neck, causes a lot of cervical extension, causes slouching in the upper back. It's just compounded from driving, sitting at a computer, texting, all these bad habits we have. And this exercise, the floor Cobra, it's a prone Cobra. It just happens to be on the floor, so call it what you want. But this gets those three actions. So he's getting the external rotation, opening the hands, getting the extensors of the fingers and the forearms too, retraction of the scapula, depression of the scapula. And that's what makes this exercise amazing. I would recommend doing this as a warm-up before every workout, even legs. It just activates everything. It's a beautiful thing. Love that shit. And with the next pairing, again, I'm just doing a total upper body workout, and I'm not getting every single set. But this is just like the majority of my content. I'm not breaking down how many sets per reps. Maybe I'm chopping it here and there. Depends if there's extra footage. But this is just a standard cable row, and one thing that I always make sure to do is keep a nice bend in my knees. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on the lower back, and I pull low. I don't pull up to my upper chest because then you avoid getting the upper traps involved. Now here, I wasn't going too heavy, but what's really good when you do this exercise is to drop the hips. So keep them here or a little bit lower. I was kind of focusing on some glute activation, but to really get some amazing stretch, you can drop the hips and really open up the lats and get that full stretch with the lats. So a lot of times I refer to dumbbell pullovers as a chest exercise. It's really for the lats, but you do get some fibers of your chest involved. Plus it's an amazing stretch. So I think of it as like a stretch for chest as much as it is a lat exercise, and in some ways a chest exercise as well. And you can see how I'm pulling low, I'm pulling the shoulders back and down. Anytime you go above the stomach, you start pulling up towards your chest, especially from a low row machine, you start to shrug your shoulders up, and you don't need any more upper trapezius. What I showed you, what I was demonstrating on my friend from the gym with the floor prone Cobra, is what shuts down the upper trapezius. The traps are the middle and lower part as well. And when most people discuss trapezius work, it's the upper traps, it's the shrugs. And that is just the most overdone exercise. So I really avoid shrugs for the most part. I do deadlifts, which gets a lot of the upper trap. But this exercise is a great stretch. It's a great shoulder mobilizer. It's great for the core. It's great for engagement, integration with the breath. I love pullovers, and I try to do them every time I do chest or back. All right, and there's the gentleman I was talking about where we're doing the prone Cobra earlier in this workout, and he was thanking me for the badass exercise, and I was saying, yep, you're welcome. And I grunted, and then we're back. So the next pairing is incline, kind of pulse. I was alternating a half rep with a full rep, and I just kept it light today. This workout is kind of fresh. I haven't been training super hard lately, so I'm kind of easing back into it with more of a, round robin workout. So I was doing a pulse, alternating a half press with a full press, just going for the feel, going for the stretch. And, I'm not really so concerned with bulking up chest and doing a ton of that. I usually backload my training with middle trap work. This is a back fly. And I like doing this free and also prone on this position. And notice how my range is limited. I'm not coming all the way to the front, because after you come more than shoulder width together, you're taking pressure off the muscles I'm trying to hit with the, you're missing the lats, you're missing the medial muscles, superficial. I'm not trying to get my rhomboids, my middle trap as much as I'm trying to get my lats from a different angle with that extension movement. And then right into a prone press. So this is, again, middle, lower trapezius, it's rhomboids, it's posterior rotator cuff and posterior deltoid, and I just get wrecked. So this pairing is the incline press with prone press and chest, I want to say chest assisted back flies, but the back flies are prone. So when you're prone face down on a bench, you are taking out the swing. So you're isolating the back completely. So you're pulling the shoulder blades down, and I'm using kind of a low incline. You can go a little bit higher. So if you feel like you're getting your upper traps involved too much on the prone press part or the back fly, just make it a little bit higher. So I'm going incline barbell with a pulse, so half rep and then full, and then I'm doing back flies, drop set to prone press. So not getting a lot of volume in terms of repetitions, but it's intense. So again, back to incline press, and you can see the half reps and the full reps. And what I like to do with the bar with lighter weight is to actually squeeze my hands together as if I'm sliding my hands together like a telescope. And that really gets some extra action with the chest activation, because it really gets, one of the things with bench pressing is you lose a lot of that chest adduction where the arms are coming together. That's why I like the pinch press and the flies and things of that nature, because you lose a lot of that with the incline press. And again, when you do the back fly, you can see how I'm not bringing my hands all the way together. I'm just keeping the tension on that area, pulling wide. And I equate this to like you're ripping open a huge, like 50-pound bag of dog food. Just pull it apart. Pull it apart. Don't pinch back so much. Go for width. Go wide. Keep the traps pulled down. Keep those scapula pulled down. Pretend like you're trying to put your shoulder blades in your back pocket, and do that. And right into the prone press. And I really probably could have used 2.5s for this. I just wanted to go a little heavier and challenge myself. But stomach in, squeezing the butt. My chest is down, coming up a little bit slightly, but I'm still pushing down. So in my head, I'm really driving my chest down into the bench. And the next series, I'm starting to get into the arms. So leaving the chest and back and moving into shoulders and the accessory work. So you're not going to need, if you're doing a full body workout, don't stress the biceps and the triceps. You're already doing chest and back. You don't need as much volume. So this is where a lot of people go excessive. They do chest and back for a while, and they do arms for the same amount of time. You don't need as much volume. Then they get so sore in their arms and they end up getting tendonitis and overload because you're doing too much isolated arm work. If you're doing upper body or push pull, you can do more volume for the compound movements, do more of a pressing, do more multi-joint for the chest and for the back, rows, deadlifts, things of that sort. And then you don't have to do as much isolation, especially if you're trying to save time. If you're doing a bodybuilding split, you obviously split up your body parts differently. You don't do as much of a push pull and upper lower as you do, let's say, chest day or chest and triceps. More isolated. You do more of a broken down split. And one of my favorite exercises for triceps, I don't know where this became a girl or a female oriented exercise, but tricep kickbacks are phenomenal. And you could even bring your hand or your arm down a little bit at the beginning range of motion, at the beginning portion. You'll get the long head of the triceps, which is the only head of the triceps that crosses the scapula and that shoulder joint. So right now, because I'm not bringing that arm forward, I'm usually just getting the other two heads. And one of the most overrated exercises is a bicep dumbbell curl. This is functional. This is basic. This is what most people do. I was just kind of doing this fucking around because I haven't done a lot of upper body heavy volume lately. So I didn't want to do too much. So I just decided, I'll just bang out some of these curls. What the hell? But there's really no tension. There's really a lack of the maximization, I'm just going to make up a word here, of the fiber activity when you're just doing a curl, because at the bottom end of the range of the motion, you're just hanging with gravity. There's no resistance. So once you get the shoulder a little bit more involved and you start changing the angles with the biceps is when you'll really kind of get deep into those tissues. And I'll show you some of that stuff in other workouts. So again, I was kind of doing a triple set here, tri-set. I was doing side raise, I was doing some curls, and then going into the kickbacks. So again, just dusting off the shelf, so to speak, wasn't stressing too much the details of the workout, rather than let me just pick a couple of things I feel like doing, do a total upper body, and, you know, luckily we're getting some good content out of this. So I will break down some of these exercises in other sub videos. I'll take parts of this and break it down. I'm actually going to show you one right now that I did during this workout. Okay, fam-wise, this exercise is the Papa Swolenormous press. This is my favorite tricep exercise. You could do this on a TRX, you could do this with a rope, you could do this with a towel on a bar. Now, a lot of you have seen me do this before. One of the most important things to think about when you're doing this exercise is to almost keep the lower back rounded. You're going to want to arch and you're going to want to give into it because of flexibility in the hips and the lower spine. So suck your stomach in around your lower back. You'll bring it more into a neutral position and then focus on that shoulder overhead movement. If you have problems with your shoulder, you have to make sure you work on thoracic mobility first, because it can put pressure on the shoulder if you have an imbalance. So be careful if you have any kind of pain or impingement issues already. But try to like round the lower back almost like a turtle. Keeping that in mind when you do this will keep your body in better alignment, and you'll feel a lot more in your core and your abs and less stress in your lower back. So right here with the Papa Swolenormous press, you do not want to drop your hips down. Push your butt up a little bit to start, suck your stomach in, tuck your pelvis under as if you're trying to pour water out the back end of a bucket behind your body, squeeze your butt, and then you'll neutralize to the right position. Okay, so what really makes that rounding of the lower back important is because when you go overhead, it tightens the lats, it stretches the lats out, and the lats attach to the fascial tissue at the base of the lower spine. Now, when the lats are tight, as they often are because everything's connected, when you raise your arms up overhead, it'll pull on the lats and can cause the lower back to arch to kind of try to give slack to the shoulder and to the lats. So when you go overhead, in general, the lower back is going to want to arch. And if you have tight hips and you have any kind of existing issues and compensations, which most people do, you're going to feel pressure in the lower back. You might feel some pain. So when you try to round at the beginning, when you go up overhead with your arms and your lower back is starting in a little bit of a round position to begin with, it will kind of break even rather than go into an arch and a lumbar extension. So you're kind of compensating at the beginning in order to neutralize during the movement. So it makes the dynamic posture and the dynamics of that exercise much more safe and effective. So I hope you enjoyed this exercise. I'll see you next time. Hell of a workout, fam, as always. Just a little bit, just a little something, nothing crazy. I didn't crush it, I didn't murder myself, but I did 2 exercises each of chest and back. I did 1 for shoulders, but I did some prone press too, so that hits the posterior deltoid. And I did some single arm curls. I didn't film the concentration curls. I did a couple sets of tricep extensions too. So just, you know, a little bit light on the arms because I skipped arms, so it's been like 2 weeks since I did a hard arm workout, so I'm not going crazy on the volume there, but had a great upper body workout in total, and all in all, it was a good round robin, focusing still on meditation and yoga and recovery, and then going from there. All right, peace out, fam. Hope you enjoy the workout. Later.